Welcome to the Mediation Moment podcast, where we explore the unique, intricate, and individual experiences in the mediation profession.
Hi, this is Ty Bordoni, Director of Mediation at CPLS, PA in Central Florida, and I'm also a full-time mediator and primary mediation trainer. And today, I thought I would talk about a couple of interesting things that came up in our weekly CPLS mediation team meeting. And the first thing that came up was a couple of our mediators had a couple of issues come up during mediation, specifically interested third parties that wanted to take part in mediation. And the question that the mediators, have and were concerned about was, as a mediator, when do I let somebody in a mediation? And we talk about this oftentimes, right? Who is it that can take part in mediation when you're, having a mediation session? In essence, named parties, right? They're typically supposed to be the parties who are in mediation. But if a party is an interested party, they could also take part in mediation depending on the facts, right? And so my answer to the mediators was, we should always be kind of reading the room, reading the temperature in the room. What is it that's going on? And we have to make nuanced decisions with respect to how best we're going to move forward. The mediator is always the guardian of the process. And when something comes up, you're there all by yourself. And you have to figure out in that moment, how am I best going to proceed? And so as the mediator, you're going to look and see what's going on. So in the instance that I'm talking about, in one instance, there was a translator that needed to take part because someone didn't speak a language. One of the parties in that mediation didn't agree that translator take part in mediation. And so my response there was, now that's something that I had come across many times when I was a staff mediator in the Ninth Circuit. For any one of a number of reasons, sometimes one of the parties won't agree with one of the other parties' presence. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. Sometimes the translator isn't always supplied by either the agency or the court. Sometimes parties have to bring their own translator. Sometimes the translator they bring might be someone who the other side might not have a good rapport with, might not like, might not trust. Again, every case is a little different. And so the mediator has to be aware of kind of the dynamics that are going on in the room. But the mediator is also the guardian of the process. And so there are some instances where a third party is necessary in order for a mediation to proceed. A translator is potentially one of those individuals, and there could be any one of a number of individuals who it would be appropriate. They're not necessarily a named party, but because of the role that they're taking or that they have in a given situation, it might be appropriate for them to take part in mediation to one respect or another. So where a translator, however, is concerned, I would tell you that it is not inappropriate for a mediator to let the parties know that it's okay for the translator to take part, but it's how you come across and you help the parties recognize that it's okay. One, I would tell you, if you're in joint session, the parties are all together, virtually or in person. If someone raises an objection, the first thing a mediator has to be careful about doing is somehow coming off as if they're agreeing with the other party or they are siding with the other party. Remember, perceived value has a lot to do with what we're doing in mediation, right? And so if you have to be the guardian of the process and let the parties know, in this instance, I am going to allow someone to take part in mediation, whether it be an expert or a guardian ad litem in a family case, or something like a translator, that in your mind is integral in order for mediation to take part. If a party can't communicate, you can't really mediate, can you? And so I've been in those situations. But how we let the parties know that it is going to be appropriate is really, really important. What you don't want to do is tell the parties that you're going to allow it over an objection together. If you're getting the sense that someone is in opposition, I would tell you, even before mediation starts, caucus, right? What you don't want to do is in any way have one of your parties lose face or somehow seem as if they're in a somehow less powerful position. You want everyone to be vested, right? And you don't want to do anything that is going to make someone now not happy. So if you have to help someone recognize that it is okay for someone to take part in mediation, but you're getting resistance, consider separating and letting them know in a very not only informative way, but an empathic way. Listen, I understand that you're not comfortable for this reason or that reason. However, I really think that it's going to be appropriate because we're going to need to be able to communicate. And so I understand that you have some concerns. And so what you can do is you can address those concerns. What I have done in the past when they weren't comfortable with a translator, for instance, was let them know, look, whenever I leave the room, the translator will come with me, right? And I will also, you want to make sure that the translator knows you're not giving legal advice. All you're doing is trying to translate exactly verbatim as the parties are talking to you about. So I guess the real point here is, if there is a third party that needs to come in or that wants to come into mediation, the mediator has to decide, is it appropriate or is it not appropriate? Do they have something to add? Are they an integral party to the mediation if they're not a named party? And based on what your instinct is telling you, where it would be appropriate. Something like a translator is in fact appropriate, right? So long as it's handled the right way. So we just need to make sure that even if we're being the guardian of the process, we're doing it in such a way that we're still taking into account the other party's feelings, even though we're still going to be the guardian of the process, right? But again, it's case by case, and there are many, many instances where it isn't appropriate. And so by the same token, you still have to be the guardian to the party who's not going to be able to bring in a third party. So it's case by case, right? And the mediator in that moment has to decide, what do I do? How best do I move forward? Most important thing is that you're still sensitive to the topic and to your parties, and everyone still sees you as transparent and neutral, so that you still keep everyone's trust and are able to help them move forward once you've cleared that issue and then move forward, right? So I hope that helps. Please keep on doing the good work that you do. Keep on mediating one mediation at a time in your community and hopefully in turn the world. I hope that helps. Please feel free to share that, and I will see you next time.